Hi, greetings to everyone watching this video. Today, my colleagues and I will be addressing the topic of multiskilling. To begin, let us look at the concept and the nature of multiskilling. Multiskilling happens when a single employee is trained in a more than one skill set in order to enable the employee to perform different jobs. This is considered to be very beneficial to organizations as it reduces the costs of hiring additional employees. Let us look at an example. You, my viewer, you work as a sales representative in any company and you are being trained in order to acquire logistic skills, okay, so that you can perform logistic tasks. The process whereby you are trained to acquire a new skill to perform a new role, it's considered multiskilling. And as you can see, it's very beneficial to the organization because the organization will not have the need of going to hire maybe someone else to work in the logistic team, as you are already skilled to perform that job. Multiskilling is considered in 4 dimensions, namely horizontal multiskilling, vertical multiskilling, cross-skilling, and generic working. Let us look at definitions of each of them as well as examples. Horizontal multiskilling. This is where employee skills base is extended to perform another task or service at the same level of his/her original task. So in this first level, the employee is not promoted, he or she remains at the same level. However, he receives trainings to get additional skills to perform another job. Let us look at an example in a manufacturing company. A worker may perform duties or tasks in the manufacturing of a specific product. As well, he may be trained to perform quality inspections. So that is horizontal multiskilling, whereby he remains at the same level, performing his or her duties, however he gets an additional skill. Secondly, we have vertical multiskilling, which is defined. It refers to developing a learner's depth and complexity of skills to include skills at a higher level. This is the difference between the first and the second one, that the vertical means we can consider being promoted, as the worker who is being trained in a vertical multiskilling, he receives training to acquire skills to perform a higher level, okay, or a higher position. Let us use the same example in a manufacturing company, whereby an individual was previously just in charge of building a product. However, he or she receives training now to perform maybe administrative jobs, okay. Now he becomes an administrator or a supervisor. That is considered vertical multiskilling. Then we have cross-skilling. Refers to provide the learner with skills in a similar level of complexity, allowing for skills development beyond the boundary of the original job. This is similar to the first one that we've mentioned, which is horizontal multiskilling, as the learner or the worker remains at the same level. He or she is not promoted, but however, he gets additional skills. Now, the difference between the horizontal multiskilling and the cross-skilling is that on the horizontal multiskilling, the worker receives new skills, is trained to get a new skill. However, similar to the work that he performs, his original tasks. On the cross-skilling, he receives training to get skills that are beyond, that differs a bit more than his original task. Then we have generic working. This is where new roles are implemented and people are trained to perform them. Considering that in a company, right, there was not previously a specific role or job or task, and now the company has decided to implement it. However, the company needs to train individuals so that they can be able to perform those jobs. Considering the same company, which is a manufacturing company that we are using as an example, let us say that the team, the organization, and the clients, they used to initially or previously communicate using emails. However, the organization have decided to implement a platform of communication so that the communication can be more effective and efficient. So the process by people are trained to manage this platform, it's called generic working. Now, let us look at the factors that support multiskilling. Let us start from the organization's perspective. Multiskilling is seen as part of a strategy to develop a flexible organization. It allows workers to stand in for others when needed. So these are the first reasons why organizations support multiskilling. Because considering the first example that we gave, which is you, my viewer, you work as a sales representative and you are trained to perform logistic tasks or logistic duties. This will firstly reduce the costs, right? And it will allow the organization to be more flexible, as the organization will not have to wait or to depend on one individual to perform a specific task. Whenever the person who deals with that task, as we are giving the example, logistic task, is not available, someone else can stand in and perform that task, which will benefit at the end of the day the organization. As well as organizations are continuously changing, now the things are changing, and there is a need to remain competitive, right? For organization to remain competitive, it's important that those working in that organization have different skills, in order to create innovation and create new things. As well, organizations support multiskilling as it improves communication. Where individuals in the organization are more skilled, they have great chances of communicate more effectively, as they can always give suggestions to one another, and the work will definitely be better. Now let us look at the learner's perspective. Why learners support multiskilling? Firstly, it increases the chances of remaining employable. Or considering that, let us give an example. I work in a company and I only have a matric certificate, for example, which maybe means that I don't have a lot of skills because I did not study further. And I'm working with someone who has a diploma or maybe a BTech, who study more, who have more skills. In case the company have to retrench employees, who do you think the organization will retrench first? Probably me, who have less skills, and the organization will prefer to keep that employee who have more qualification, more skills, because he may be able to perform my task and his task, since I will not be able to perform his task, simply my task. Okay. Multiskilling also, learners also support multiskilling as it supports career choices. People who have more skills, they end up having more career choices. An example, if I have sales representative skills and I have logistics skills and I have, let us say, accounting skills, I can work in these three departments. I can work in a logistic team, I can work in an accounting team, which means that I have more career choices than someone who only have one skill, maybe which is sales representative. He or she can only work in a sales department and not able to perform other duties. So these are some of the reasons why learners support multiskilling. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Ruth Kasha, and I will be talking about the value of multiskilling and the generic skills of a multiskilling program. I will start with the value of multiskilling. Multiskilling is a talent that proves to be beneficial and effective in the workplace. The skill is very valuable for both employees and employers, especially in today's fast-paced modern organization. Implementing multiskilling entails an increased supervision until the learners or employees are up to speed. And effective multiskilling enhances competitiveness, efficiency, quality production, and competency and competitiveness. A multi-skilled employer has an ability to adapt in market conditions and increases demands. The philosophy of the workplace in nowadays is no longer about concentrating in one's own tasks or roles, but also about adding value with their functions and skills. Therefore, multi-skilled employers has a set of competences that allows them to work in areas and in departments other than their own expertise. This flexibility is a key strength of the business, as employees learn beyond their immediate role, as they are flexible and responsive in the business needs. According to Mayer, the value of multiskilling are as follows. Multiskilling improves flexible skills, which individuals have the capacity to adapt to change quickly and calmly, provides individuals with greater range of skills, which they can use when required. For an example, a manager leaves the organization without giving any notice. An organization will give a multi-skilled employee an opportunity to act while they are busy with the recruitment process, which often leads in hiring the person who's acting for the position. Multiskilling improves job and career opportunities. Multi-skilled individuals has greater chances to have better jobs and career opportunities. For an example, someone who has a diploma in office management and a BTech in human resource development, and someone compared to someone who only has a diploma in office management, the one that has two different qualifications has career opportunities and has chances to be employable. The enriches personal, organizational, and national productivity. An individual that performs better in the organization increases the organizational productivity as well as the national productivity. Multi-skilled individuals have greater chances to be employable as they are knowledgeable in different subjects. For an example, a multi-skilled individual can save costs of the organization with the rendering services that are usually outsourced, such as installation, workshops, training of newly appointed employees. The individuals are very valuable in the organization as they can perform different tasks and roles, which can reduce the cost of the organization rather than having to appoint or hire new employees. Multi-skilled individuals have a better life quality as they have personal opportunities in a variety of areas and in subjects. For an example, a job applicant which has a diploma, a BTech, or master's has greater chances to be appointed as they will be the first ones to be considered than someone who only has a certificate. Another example is a multi-skilled individual has many ways in obtaining income. A multi-skilled individual doesn't depend on one income, which can lead them to being financially stable and not depending in one's salary or income. Multi-skilled individual can inspire their families to learn different skills. I will go to the generic skills of multi-skilling program. Generic skills of multi-skilling program is when a significant learning takes place, and they need to have basics upon further learning. For an example, when the trainer teaches Advanced, Excel, or any other Microsoft packages, the learners needs to have basics on it. They can't jump on Advanced, Excel, or any other Microsoft packages without having basics on it. In order for the organization and learners to implement multi-scaling programs successfully, the organization needs to have a strong leadership and be more effective and be able to solve problems and be creative and learn how to learn. An overview of a generic skills of a multi-skilling program is manage of emotions. For an example, when the trainer makes a criticism, the learner should take it as a constructive criticism and not take it personally, so that he or she can improve their performances. Empathy. A trainer should understand that learners learn in different paces, as we all have different backgrounds and mindsets. Other learners grasp everything when they thought, the first time that they thought. Others, they need to be explained and all that. The first one that has understand what the trainer has thought at first, maybe he or she has a background knowledge on it. Others, they don't have background, like basics about the topic. The learner and the trainer should be on the same page so that they can communicate the progress, the uncertainty, and any other relevant information concerning the training, so that the training can be meaningful to everyone. Furthermore, the learners should be able to use science and technology effectively and critically, showing responsibility towards environment and the health of others. Learners should be able to demonstrate an understanding of the world as a set of related systems, recognizing that problem-solving contexts do not exist in isolation. Understanding responsibility of facing and upgrading one's competence. Learners should be able to use critical and creative thinking skills to identify and solve problems, work effectively with others, as members of the team, manage themselves and their activities responsibly, communicate effectively, using the modes of oral and written presentations, understand the world as a set of related systems. Generic skills are very important in our days because work and life are in flux. And having an ability to take different tasks and learn from your doings and experiences is very much important. Thank you very much.
So now we will be looking at the strategies to promote multi-skilling. In other words, what is that needs to be done in order to promote multi-skilling in organizations? Well, the answer is organizations make use of different practices in order to promote multi-skilling, and these practices include job design, job rotation, job enlargement, job enrichment, alternative work arrangements, as well as career development. As you see, it's all HR related terms, but we're going to take a look at each of them in order to get better understanding. So let us start with job design. So job design refers to the responsibilities and qualifications and duties of a job. In other words, it's basically what the worker needs to have and do in his job, okay? And these jobs are usually designed in a way that they promote multiskilling. Let us look at an example. A sales representative in a call center company. He or she, the main responsibility may be interacting, with customers telephonically. But on top of that, he or she needs to update the feedback in an Excel sheet, okay? Which means that he or she needs to have two different skills or more maybe. The first one being the telephone etiquette skills or interpersonal skills in order to interact with the clients. And on top of that, he or she also needs to have the skills to work with Microsoft Excel. Okay, that's why I say that these jobs are usually designed in a way to promote multiskilling, because it's very rare to find a job that you will only be required to perform one job, one duty, and you only have one responsibility, which at the end of the day means that you will only need one skill. But it's impossible to find jobs like that, right? That's why we have job description, which means all the responsibilities of your job. And most of the times, you have 2, 3, 4 different responsibilities, which means that you have to have different skills, okay? So as I say, this worker needs to have different skills in order to perform well his job, which means that he needs to be multi-skilled. And secondly, we have job rotation. Job rotation refers to shifting employees between different jobs in the organization, okay? Let us look at an example. The company administrator, or the administrator of a company, will be temporarily performing the duties of the receptionist, or the receptionist will be temporarily performing the duties of the sales representative. But now you may ask, but how is that it promotes multiskilling? How does that happen? Because in order for this job rotation to take place, in order for the administrator to perform the job of the receptionist, it means that he or she needs to have the skills to do that job, okay? Because you're not going to say, okay, I'm going to be the receptionist for today, and you don't know the right way of answering a phone, maybe, or you don't know the right way of sending an email, which are maybe the duties of the receptionist. So that's why we say that this job rotation, this practice promotes multiskilling in a way that for it to take place, the individuals or the workers, the employees that are going through this process, they need to have different skills. Then we have job enlargement, refers to an increase in the number of tasks associated with a certain job, which means that the worker will be performing more tasks than he was performing before. Maybe a task that was initially performed by someone else, but because it's part of his or her job, then he or she will be entitled to be performing that task. An example may include a worker be now in charge of doing his own plannings when initially it was done by the manager, okay? But let us take a closer example, a proper example for better understanding. In a call center, a sales representative is in charge of dealing with customers, right? Interacting with customers telephonically, which means that for that to happen, he or she needs to have the contact details such as cell phone number, telephone number, or email address, right? So let us say that initially the manager was collecting all this information and providing it to the employee, and he or she simply had to make the calls and deal with the employees. Now, during the job enlargement process, it means that this worker will be in charge of doing everything, in the sense that he or she is in charge of, collecting the numbers, putting together all the necessary information which was previously done by the manager, right? So the employee now needs to do everything, like collect all the information, put together all the contact details, and continue performing his or her normal task or original task, which is interacting with the customers or the clients. But now you may ask, but how is that it promotes multiskilling? In a way that initially he was not doing that job of collecting all the information, putting the numbers together, finding ways to find the right information. He or she was not performing that task. Now that he is required to do that task, he or she needs to have the skills to do so. Okay, so that's how now we go to the first part, that we say that these jobs are usually designed in a way that they promote multiskilling. Then we have job enrichment. It aims at providing employees greater responsibility by expanding the range and complexity of tasks. So which means that the employee will be having more responsibilities as well. But for that to take place also, they need to have the right skills in order to do so, okay? Because this job enrichment comes with responsibilities, and it's also very beneficial in order to reduce the feeling that the job is repetitive, that I always do the same thing. So you'll be granted different tasks and different things to do, but in order for it to take place, you need to have the right skills. Then we have the alternative work arrangements. If you've ever heard this term, most of the times it's connected to work flexibility, because that's basically alternative work arrangements brings to the organization work flexibility, which differs to the traditional way of working that we were used before, where individuals go to work at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and they leave at 6 or maybe 7 or maybe 5, and etc. etc. That's how these alternative work arrangements work. It brings more flexibility. Maybe people can work from home. Some people, they only go to offices maybe twice a week. You see, so that's how these alternative work arrangements happen. But in order for that to take place, people need to be skilled also, so that it can work for the benefit of the organization. An example, let us say, I am working from home, and I need to have the right skills to perform all my duties without always having to, contacting my supervisor or my manager. I need help with this, I need help with that, and etc. etc. So I need to have a self-management skill. I'll have to be able to manage myself in order to perform my job, because I'll be working from home. I have no colleagues to ask for help. I have no supervisor to ask for help. So which means that I'll need to have different skills. Because maybe if I was working in an office and I'm struggling with Microsoft Excel, for example, I can ask my colleague to assist me with that. But when I'm working from home, it means that I need different skills to perform my job. Then we have career development, which means that it's a way to improve your own skills in order to do your job better and also get better jobs, okay, or better opportunities. How does that promote multiskilling? In order for the career development to take place, means that you need to perform your job in order for you to perform your job, you need to have different skills. For you to perform your job better, you need to have different skills. In order for you to get better jobs, you need to have different skills. Now we're going to be looking at the practical implementations of multiskilling. We're going to be looking at the strategy. We're going to be looking at the skills audit, as well as implementation, as well as monitoring during the process of implementing multiskilling. In the strategy process, the systems that organizations need to take in consideration in order to benefit from multiskilling include recruitment and selection, career development, performance appraisal, education, training and development, as well as remuneration. So these are all HR related terms, but which means that for multiskilling to take place in organization, starting from recruitment and selection, means that people that are hired to work in organizations during the recruitment and selection process, they need to be able to learn. They need to be people who are willing to learn. In case organizations want to implement multiskilling, they need to recruit and select people to work with them that are individuals who are willing to learn and people who can easily learn and adapt, to new learning strategies. Then we have also the organization need to inform the stakeholders, okay? And they also need to inform the stakeholders why this multiskilling is taking place, or why the organization found themselves in the need of implementing multiskilling. Because you will not, the stakeholders refers to the partners, maybe clients, the employees themselves. The owner cannot just wake up one day and decide that I want to implement multiskilling. People need to be informed that this is going to take place so that they can also be part of it, okay? So that they can also feel and understand the importance of multiskilling. So that's why it's important to inform the relevant stakeholders. Then we have the skills audit, which basically it refers to the training need analysis, which we did on our past work, which refers to analyzing what is the skills that we have in the organization and what are the skills that are needed in the organization. Because each organization is different. An organization cannot say, or the management of an organization cannot say, okay, that organization there is doing multiskilling, then we're also going to do that. Because each organization may not, is different. So if the other organization is performing multiskilling, they already know the needs that they need to have, or the needs that they will need in the future, the skills that they will need in the future, and etc., etc. So in order for you to implement multiskilling in your organization, you need to know what are the skills that my organization, the individuals at my organization possess, and what are the skills that they will need in future, okay? Or what are the skills that my organization or our organization is going to need in future. Then we have the implementation. This is whereby learners need to be made aware of the available mechanisms such as resource centers where they can get the information in order to improve their skills. In the process of implementation, the learners need to be made aware that this is happening and I need to get information. You can use that resource center or that resource center in order to promote or in order to improve your skills and make this implementation successfully. And finally, we have the monitoring process that, in my opinion, the monitoring needs to happen at every stage of the implementation of multiskilling, from the planning stage, when everything is being planned, how it's going to take place. It needs to be monitored, you see, so that you can see, okay, what are the skills gap? What is that people need to know? What is that we're going to need? All of these information need to be monitored, you see, as well for you to be able to realize, am I being able to achieve my goal? The organization is being able to achieve its goal. So that's why monitoring is important. So thank you so much.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Kanyandengane, and today my teammates and I will be doing a brief presentation on multiskilling. So my part is to explain the factors that contribute to the implementation, the limitations, and how to develop a competency model. So as we know that a multiskilling training program is very important as it helps develop our skills. So the first factor, there are quite a number of factors actually that contribute throughout the process. So the number one factor is the success of the program requires a training that accommodates both the complexity and diversity of the task content. So by means, the company needs to make use of workshops. So workshops are there to help the employees to enhance or acquire essential skills that will help them to start those new projects or to be able to do the tasks within the company where they were lacking. So the second one is that the training requires an appropriate incorporated responsibility that should be integrated. So for me, the responsibility should come from both the employee and the employer. So the employer is the responsibility of the employer is to make sure that their employees get the right skills in order for them to carry out the objectives and the goals of the company. And the employee's responsibility is to make sure that they learn everything they've been taught to be able to carry it out practically when they are given tasks, or able to not be scared to start new projects. So the third one, in the case of an overlap with the traditional tasks done by others, a communication to clarify the intentions of the intervention is very important. So by means of making use of communication, the employers need to be transparent on why the training is needed and how will it benefit the employees, because employees will be scared on maybe why, or confused on why the whole thing has been done. So a clarified message and transparency with the employees will be very important. The fourth one is making assumptions on increasing job satisfaction can only be confirmed where specific situations can be addressed, ensuring job satisfaction. So those situations could be that the employees are not happy. So by ensuring their job satisfaction, they will need encouragement, motivation, and such things as appraisals to make sure that to ensure that they are being valued and they are happy. For example, at McDonald's or KFC, you get those posters where you get Employer of the Month. Such things could be done. Then a fourth one is that job titles will be reduced to create movement across possible work areas. For example, they can make use of job rotation. Since there will be no job titles, the employees can rotate within the company to learn each and every what tasks that are being done in every department in the company. In the completion of initial multitasking, an exercise of roles task will be important to ensure the skills are maintained. Fifth one is labor agreements. Agreements need to be supportive towards the multiskilling process by providing a clarity on the impact the process has on the remuneration as well. Again, it goes well with transparency and communication. So the employees need to know why they need to know the whys of why the multiskilling training program is really important, and how it will impact them, as it maybe sometimes can create confusion within the employees. So if they are being transparent with their employees, it will make the process much easier, and it can even give the employees the enthusiasm and affirmation that they need. So another one is mentors need to be appointed on the basis of observing the quality of learning and to ensure strategic goals are met. So by employing mentors, it means that their mentors are there to encourage the employees and going forward with the process, with the training process. It gives them that thing that the company cares, and that the company sees potential in them. So by providing them with the mentors are there to encourage them, to guide them and give them direction, and to also to help them perfect their skills. During the multi-scaling process, the objectives must be clarified and made known to all learners involved, with focus on the advantages of the learners. To ensure the goals are met, learners need to understand their tasks and goals. There must be a clear indication of what the employees must do on their tasks and goals, on the tasks on the jobs. They must know what they must do and how to execute them. They must be having a clear indication on how those tasks must be done, and who is responsible for what. So while the structure is important, it is necessary for idea exchange to facilitate the learning gained. So maybe they could create tasks or jobs that will make them to put their ideas to make them put their skills into use. Creating case studies to be solved, creating scenarios that they can do, activity that they can do to ensure that they really know what they've learned and they're able to execute using their skills. So now the second part I'll be doing is the limitations of multi-skilling. So David warns that in some roles, multi-skilling may contribute to job content being a succession of a tedious, boring task. So as we know that multi-skilling is there to enhance the skills of employees and creating an environment that in a good behavior in the job. But there's also things that there's also jobs that have that require individuals to work alone and not in teams, and have legal implications. That I think jobs such as in IT, sometimes IT technicians need to do the work alone, then go present it to the managers or supervisors. Such jobs need a specific focus. And the last part is developing a competency model. So when developing a competency model, we need to consider 3 factors that are there. It's first one is to consider the organizational context. So in the design and development of the model, it should reflect the organization's context, the job, and the competencies that are required. So in the development, factors that make influential contribution are organizational culture, market, customers, employee relation, union representation, and challenges and management. As well, the model must align to the strategy to improve the performance of the company. Second one is link the model to organizational goals. There must be linkage between the organizational goals and objectives that will create an identification of knowledge, skills, and abilities and other characteristics to achieve those goals and objectives. And the last one, use job analysis methods to develop your competencies. Numerous methods can be used in gathering useful and reliable information, which include a subject matter expert, interviews, brainstorming methods, focus groups, and behavioral event interviews to gather information. Thank you.